The doublespeak of the capitalist industry has reached new levels now. And I say doublespeak with the utmost certainty that that's the correct wording I want to give it. Because it's like 1984, where the Orwellian state, the Big Brother state, is not a state in the normal sense. It is not a government. It is the cluster, the collection of all these corporate industries creating this plutocracy where the rich can dictate your life, not so much because through the barrel of a gun and they force you to act in accordance to their will or you go to jail or you get killed, but that they establish this order and they convince people to do it. They have brainwashed people to such an extent that they can give you two contradicting statements and you will be obliged to follow both of them and kill yourself in the process because you logically can't do it. So, this issue here is this guy, by a job he was applying for, asks for his Facebook password so that they can research him and see whether or not he's engaging in any gang activity. I would have taken advantage of this had I been that black guy and said that that's a hate crime. For you to assume that I'm in a gang is a hate crime. You're just going by the color of my skin. And while we all know this guy's probably not in a gang, if he was in a gang, why would he be applying for a job? Wouldn't gang members be making money selling coke or something? And if you look at him, he looks older, he doesn't look in very good shape. I doubt sincerely he ever had gang activity in his life. But that's not the point. And the point isn't even it's an invasion of privacy. That's the tip of the iceberg. The point here is that it's illegal for you to tap into people's passwords. It's considered a grotesque invasion, it's a violation of their rights, things like that. But when the web administrators ban your IP address, that's not an invasion of privacy, that they're using that information against you. It's not an invasion of privacy when an employer requests valuable information about you that can easily be misused. Everything you give them is giving them leverage against you. Every time you give your address, your name, anything, let alone more important things like your social security number and shit. And jobs ask for all of that. And meanwhile, now they want your Facebook account so that they can deny you a job because, you know, you said on your Facebook profile about some fucktard cutting you off in traffic and you wish you had a gun so that you could shoot him off the road. Which is a perfectly normal response to someone being a cunt on the fucking road. And that's the kind of thing. They don't want you to be human. That's what it is. They want you to be a machine. Machines don't feel. Machines don't react. Machines don't have thoughts. Machines don't have feelings. They just do the job. And they do the job of the utmost certainty that they will always do it. And they are programmed well. Well, we're not machines, and we shouldn't have to be machines. The fact is we cooperate within society and do, for the most part, avoid murdering and hurting people. So you owe us something for that. Because, you know, if we're going to cooperate with you and not kill you and treat you like garbage and fuck your daughters, we should be getting something in return. Or maybe we should start doing those things. Because it would stand to reason that, you know, you cooperate, you oblige, you know, consent and you do these things, but you're not getting anything out of it. I just don't see the point. I don't see the point of working and being nice and, you know, trying to be a normal person, and then you're going to get treated like shit every single step of the way. You are a prisoner. The only difference between you and someone in jail right now is the fact that prisoners typically can't have sex when they want to. I mean, they can, but it's grotesque gay butt sex, and I don't consider that morally or constructive in any way. So essentially, that's the only difference. In prison, you can't eat the food you want to, you're given what they give you, you can't fuck whoever you want to, and you can't really get around where you want to some extent. Because in reality, when you're out of prison, when you're free, you have to pay for gas, so you can't really go anywhere you want to go anyway. You can eat food that you want to within the confines of your income. You can, so that's really it. The only difference is you have slightly more choices when you're not in prison. That's our incentive to work hard and to treat people right and to not stab people. That doesn't seem like much of an incentive at all. And I'm not saying that you gotta go out there and stab people right now. What I'm just saying is that it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous the standards they make us hold ourselves up to. And, you know, Facebook is at the center. Facebook has become this hegemony. It has become this monopoly upon the whole capitalist industry. Not only because it uses people's information and shit for statistical purposes and sells them to other companies and things, it has transcended beyond that to the point now where Facebook is more or less your identity. It is your identity at which the corporations label you and define you. And more or less, Facebook is the mark of the beast. It is the mark of the beast in the sense that without it, you're basically not a citizen, because everyone has a Facebook, and you know, they use it to basically define you within the first world system. They want all of your information on Facebook, public display. They all the companies you go to, the higher you want your Facebook, and I won't doubt that within a few years, maybe even 2 years, Facebook will start doing microtransactions with a Facebook-based currency. It would not surprise me at all. And eventually Facebook will become mandatory. It will become mandatory that it be an extension of your own identity. That is, if you want to be within society and not be some kind of homeless person. And it's a scary thought that one little bastard that stole the ideas of some stuck-up but not nearly as dangerous twins that are borderline homosexual could make all this happen and nobody seems to care. Where's Anonymous? Oh, Anonymous has time to hack fucking Scientology, but not Facebook. The cornerstone of the bourgeoisie, and all of a sudden Anonymous is a no-show. You know, it's fucking ridiculous. Anonymous is a straw man. They are built there on purpose. They are probably part of the same elite that have exalted Facebook. And they are a false enemy. There's a word, but I can't think of it right now. But essentially, they are there to seem like an opponent to the rich, but they are not. And you know, nothing besides people mass waking up, which isn't going to happen, is going to stop this shit. And it's only going to get worse. Because isn't it something where you're never ever supposed to give your password out to people? That's like a basic rule of the internet. It doesn't even have to be enforced. It's common sense. You don't give your password out on the internet. Ever. Even if something goes wrong with the site. The web administrators never ask for your password because it isn't necessary, and if someone's trying to get your password, it's probably for nefarious purposes. And yet, now, employers can ask for your password. And there's no regulation against that. There's no, you know, penalty they'll receive. But, oh, it's okay because it's their company. And if you don't like that, you just go work for somebody else. You know, that's the right's answer to everything. When are you going to get the picture? Is it going to take someone to point a gun to your head and, you know, pull it back to shoot you, and if you don't like it, you can get shot by somebody else? That's it. That's what the world's come down to, is if you don't want to get shot in the head, you can go over to somebody else's house and wait for them to shoot you in the head, because maybe then you'll get shot with a silver bullet instead of a hollow point bullet. That's your fucking choice in life. That's where capitalism has gotten you. You have gotten to the point of either slavery or starvation, and that's not a choice, it's a threat. But it's a threat that you live with. It's a threat that you accept. It's a threat that you relish in. It's a threat that you cherish. You love it. You love your tyranny. You love your murder. You love your war and manipulation. You love your lies and doublespeak. You love the contradictions and hypocrisy. You love the corruption. If you didn't, you would be mad by now. You would have some kind of depth of feeling and rejection of all of this shit. You wouldn't sit here and troll my page talking about how Jim Profit is out of his mind for wanting an internet union. Jim Prophet is out of his mind for, establishing, suggesting, and demanding his rights be recognized, that I can post whatever I want to, and that it is nobody's place to tell me otherwise, regardless of whether or not they own something. Because even if I don't personally believe in personal ownership, I do believe in the First Amendment, and I do believe freedom of speech applies to all, regardless of their situation, regardless of their stature, regardless of what they're saying, and regardless of whether or not they own property. And that should be something that everyone else can attest to, because rights are absolute. And if you want to claim that capitalism is an extension of liberty, and that by owning property we are freer, then fucking act like it. Defend the freedoms that make us human. Stop acting like property gives you an excuse to bully and torment people. But you don't want to, because you're a fucking sociopath. You're criminals and terrorists, and you should die. It's just that simple. But this is only going to get worse. I've said that before. I've made a video. It gets worse. It's going to get worse. This is one example, and soon it will become the norm. That's how it always is. That's how Facebook was a lot of times. At first it was a choice. You don't have to have the timeline thing. It's a choice, but then it's mandatory. Same thing with YouTube. The new layout was a choice, and then it was mandatory. They're seeing how mad people get. They don't expect everyone to massively riot. That's ridiculous. That people are too stupid to do that. But they're seeing how many people get upset at one time, as to suggest whether or not this would be something to pull back and wait till later. But eventually it will become mandatory anyway. So that's how you always know what's going to happen. First it's going to be by choice. They're going to be like, oh, you don't need to do it. It's just more comfortable. It's something you'll enjoy it. And then they'll force it down your throat. And if not, well, then you just don't, you have to live without. And that's the way they're going to do it. Where if you don't like something, you have to live without electricity, water, board, food, air. Everything will be your choice, because if you don't like it, go somewhere else. But there is nowhere else to go. And why should you have to go anywhere? Why can't you just live your life peacefully, going to work, coming home, doing your thing online, going to bed, and then repeating the process tomorrow? That's not exactly the best life anyway, but it's a life people could handle. It's the life they desire within the constraints of what they have to deal with now, and that's being humble. It's not asking for too much that I be able to type whatever I want to type and say whatever I want to say on video and just be left the fuck alone. That's a very reasonable demand, and I can't even get that. You're telling me that in the fucking 2012, in a first world country, I can't even just say what I want to say online without being hassled, harassed, slandered, banned, treated like shit, demeaned. You're fucking crazy. You are fucking gone. You're bonkers. You need to put a gun to your head and just click that trigger and blow your brains out. Because there is no fucking way that you live in a country that excels in freedom of speech and freedom of choice and all this shit, and yet I can't manage to go anywhere on the internet because it's a fiasco. It's always some moderator telling me what to do. It's always they want my personal information, or some shit like that. You're just stupid. There is no explanation for that. You're just stupid and you're evil. So until more people start waking up, it's going to get a lot worse. And it probably, even if people start waking up, it'll probably just go slower, but it'll still get worse. Because there's not nearly going to be enough good people to make up for all these losses. And even when more good people start emerging, the evil is it's already started. You're done. It's just going to get to the point where it can't sustain itself, and then society collapses, and that'll be for the best. But even the earth itself is rejecting humanity at this point. I mean, all the floods, all the volcanoes, all the everything, it's going to get pretty bad. And I welcome it. I welcome the death. I welcome the destruction. I welcome the Godsmack from the earth itself and from the heavens. whatever, you know, as long as it ain't me. I mean, I would prefer me not be scorched by molten lava or killed in some death ray by a flying saucer, but, you know, when you look at how bad the world is, you stop praying for peace and love and all that other hippie new age bullshit, because you know it's a load of crap. It's all lies. The fact is, the world is evil for a reason, and until you extinguish that evil, there will never be any peace or relief. It's not a matter of reaching a state of enlightenment where you're one with the rainbow unicorn god, like fucking David Icke says. David Icke is a fucking bastard. He fucking gives you a load of shit, and he shoves it down your throat, and he fucking dictates your every thought, just like every other goddamn moderator. He's a lunatic, he's a compulsive idiot, he's a rapist, he's a good-for-nothing slob. He needs to have his throat slit, and he's not going to lead you to enlightenment. Nobody is. There is no enlightenment. There is only right and wrong. And you love clinging to the wrong. You don't just do wrong. You aren't just wrong. You love it with every fiber of your being. You hold on to it like a lover. And there's nothing I can say to redeem you. You cannot just go to church and find Jesus to redeem yourself from that. You will burn. And I will enjoy every minute of it. And so will any true Christian or any true Muslim or whatever. I don't care what you call yourself. But you have to welcome the destruction. You have to welcome Yahweh's eventual return and smiting of everything. Because it's not going to get any better. It's just going to get worse. That's all.